Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today we are going out on Lake Chickamauga, which is long overdue. I have not really been out at all fishing since the last open down at the Harris Chain, and I haven't been on Chickamauga. I mean, we did a Battleborn battery shoot, and I made a few casts, but you know, that was like 15 minutes of fishing time. So it's that time of year that I really like to fish out here. But the problem is, you know, I'm on the upper portion of the lake. You know, I'm in Dayton right now, and I don't know this part of the lake all that well. Even though we live here now, I haven't spent that much time up here. So we're going to explore a little bit. We're going to pretty much just drop the motor guide in the water, go fishing. And we just got done talking to a bunch of great guys from Indiana. They've got a Bass Federation tournament out here. And so there's probably going to be a lot of pressure, you know, in these areas up here. But that's okay. We're going to keep it simple today and just try to, you know, get some bites. And I'm going to let you guys ride along with me as I try to refigure out Lake Chickamauga. So let's get going. All right. So I'll show you guys what my setup is for the swim bait, and we may fish some different things other than the swim bait. Let me clean off the lens here so you guys can see better. So we may try some different things. In fact, I just got a shipment of the new Z-Man Chatterbait Elite Evos. So those are definitely something that I want to try today because I have not thrown them yet, and I'm pretty excited about that bait. But to just kind of get things started and get some bites, we're gonna start out with my favorite little diesel minnows, or minnows rather. This is a small swim bait from Z-Man made of Elastec. I'm using a 1/4 ounce Headlocks HD jig head, and yeah, this combo, man, is something that I've used a lot and have caught probably more fish than any other one bait on this. And so it's pretty easy choice for me, because this time of year, one of the things that happens is, and anytime, and this is actually something that I'm gonna do a whole video on, but anytime you have a ton of bait fish in an area, okay? So not just a little bit of bait fish, like you see one little school or something like that, but I mean, there's thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of shad in an area. The fish get really hyper focused on that specific size and profile of shad. And so you don't want to stray from that size of shad that you're seeing, because they just get so hyper dialed into that, and they'll avoid anything that doesn't look exactly like that. Then that's what we call match the hatch. And sometimes it doesn't matter as much, but sometimes it for sure does. So right now we're just tying on a little bit of this Seagar gold label onto some 20-pound smackdown, or actually 15-pound smackdown, doing a little uni to uni knot. I've lost count on the wraps, so hopefully we actually tied a good knot here. But I use 10 or 12 pound most of the time. You know, this is not like, yeah, it's a small swim bait. You could technically call it finesse, but it's really not finessing them. It's just a small bait, you know. I'm reeling it fast. You know, we're fishing shallow water. And then the knot that I'm going to use with the bait connection here in fluorocarbon is San Diego Jam knot. Best knot, in my opinion, for a line of fluorocarbon to lure connection. Got to weight it. Don't tell my wife I just did that. She's a dental hygienist. Oh, something just jumped right there, but it didn't sound like a bass. All right. So we've got that. We got our leader on there. The rod and reel setup that I've got a S3000, or this is actually S4000 Fitzgerald Stunner spinning reel, and then a 6.9 medium Versa series. To be honest, I thought this was the 610 medium heavy, which is my favorite for this technique, but this is going to work just fine for this. But I am actually surprised that I have the 6.9 medium on here. But again, we don't need a heavy rod. The heavy rod, the medium heavy, really helps you kind of get more control and leverage over the fish, especially if you have a big one. But we might not catch any big ones. We'll see. What a beautiful day. Super, super unseasonably warm day here on Chick. I'm already seeing some, it looks like bait fish movement. It could just be bubbles. No, it's bait fish. So you can see in front of me that you've got these recently exposed flats, you know, this recently exposed what was underwater flats. And so the biggest key I've found on a lake that they drain a lot of water, you know, I think Chickamauga is about 7 feet they take out of it. The biggest thing that I pay attention to is where those drains are, you know, where those channels are coming from, these feeder creeks and things like that, because that's where the shad and the bass are going to congregate. Doesn't mean that's where you're going to end up catching them. Because a lot of times you'll end up catching the fish where they're pushing the shad onto the flats, into the shallow areas. But it's a good place to start is wherever you have deeper water access on these shallow flats. And really the biggest key is just covering water until you start seeing, you know, a schooling activity. I mean, it's really as simple as that. And a lot of times it's just a matter of timing. Like you'll go back here and it just seems dead, and then all of a sudden, you know, fish start schooling, and then you can load up the boat. You know what? Just because I'm really excited to try the new Chatterbait Elite Evo, we're gonna pull one out. I don't know if it's necessarily going to be, you know, the best presentation, but we're going to try it anyways, because we got a lot of cool new baits that I'm dying to try. All right, so one of the reasons why I wanted to tie this bait on, so this is what I'm fishing. This is the new Chatterbait Elite Evo. We're using the chatter spike on the back, pearl colored. I think that this color is called Glitter Bomb, 1/2 ounce chatterbait, and just got to tie it on. I don't know if you guys have ever done this, but I've had many times where I throw a bait in the water without even tying it on. Not a ton of times, but enough to be a thing. So what I'm gonna do here is, since I wanna fish way in the back of the creek, you know, when those fish are in a transition period, like, you know, they've been for a couple months now, creek channel bends like this, where you have it one steeper side, where the creek channel is butting up against, you know, kind of a bluff or something, that can be really good. Can be real good. Man, that chatterbait feels good. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That's a good feel right there. That chatter spike looks really good on there. So yeah, I like a steep bank like this during these kind of times. Deep water access is a big deal, you know, when you don't have a lot of water to begin with, you know, when they're dropping the lake. All right. I like what I'm throwing. I don't like where I'm throwing it. There's just not enough activity back here. There's not enough schools of shad. I'm really not seeing any real schools of shad. I'm just seeing, you know, loose schools of some type of bait fish, but I don't think that they're threadfin. So let's work our way out of the creek, or, you know, work our way down towards the main lake and see if we can intercept those shad that I know are here in this creek. It's just a matter of where they are. All right, so just went a ways and didn't see any shad activity, but now you can see we got schools of bait fish that we're looking at on down imaging, 2D, and also the side imaging. That's why side imaging is so important, is you can see those schools of bait fish out here and not just directly below the boat. But now we're starting to see some shad, so let's start fishing. See that dark line right here? That is all shad. You can see some hit the surface occasionally, just flicker on the surface, but this is all shad. All right, so I'm going to show you guys why it's so important to match the hatch. So this is one of the threadfin shad that I just caught. Sorry that I did that, buddy. Look at the size. Very, very similar size. In fact, I could probably trim down this minnows just a little bit to really get close to the size of the shad, but very, very close size comparison in profile. Sorry, little threadfin, for doing that to you, but thank you for your sacrifice. But yeah, that's why it's so important, is when you have a ton of these shad in an area, you know, the fish tend to get really hyper specific on the size and profile that they target. Now, it's always good to be a little bit different, you know, like, that's why I really like having this pearl blue glimmer, is that the color is a little bit more opaque, so it like stands out. It almost looks like a, you know, maybe an albino, you know, shad, something that really just kind of sticks out. So it's good to be a little bit different. There's one. Oh, missed him. You rat. You rat bastard. Come on. Should have put super glue on this minnows. I wouldn't have to fix the tail if I did that. There he is. There's a bass. Find the bait, you find the bass. Beautiful, little largemouth. Definitely a shad eater. Not a big one, but real fun on the minnows. And you know, I've caught plenty of like 4 and 5 pounders on this pattern too, so it's not like it's just a small fish deal, but it's not the biggest fish pattern, I'll admit, but it is fun. But again, that one, I mean, he was actively chasing bait, and that's pretty much the reason why I could get him. It can get really tough to just catch random ones. You gotta be there at the right place at the right time when those fish are actively feeding on the shad. I see some activity up here. Let's keep moving forward. And I mean, we're in about a foot and a half of water where we're casting. So it's like keeping your rod tip high is really important. Oh yeah, there's some schooling activity up here. There he is. There he is. Love it. Better one. There we go. Chomped it. Just swiped at it, but I got him. I got him. Nicer fish. I mean, 2 1/4 pounder. I'm happy with that. From what I'm seeing, there's not really a lot of big fish schooling on these, but on this lake, there are some creeks, you know, Chester Frost comes to mind, where there's definitely some bigger fish. So you just got to find those areas where, you know, the fish that are schooling on these shad go from these little ones that we're catching right now to, you know, 3 to 5 pounders consistently. Power poles are really important. You know, once you get a bite, just stay there. And don't use your trolling motor. You know, just stay in one place and see if those fish come schooling up again in the same spot. Usually they will. If you use your trolling motor too much, you'll tend to push the bait around, and then you'll constantly be chasing your tail trying to find those bass again, because the bass are just following the shad. I don't think you're like scaring the bass at all, but I think the shad are just wary of, you know, the sound that is being emitted from the trolling motor. So just thought, if you got power poles, use them to your advantage and use your trolling motor sparingly with this pattern. Once you find them, at least. Oh, it's a giant. An absolute pig of a Chickamauga bass. Look at that guy. He wanted it. He wanted it. Beautiful fish though, man. Really super healthy. I mean, it'd be hard not to be healthy when you're picking from millions of threadfin shad. All right, guys, so that does it for today. Just wanted to get out for a couple hours and you know, caught a couple fish. Pretty happy with that. You know, this creek doesn't seem to be as on fire as I know at least a good amount of creeks are on this lake right now. You can run this pattern all up and down Lake Chickamauga and other lakes and catch them pretty consistently. It's all about finding those right creeks, right? So anyways, I'm probably going to be exploring in the next couple weeks, you know, all these different creeks and finding the ones that hold the biggest population of bass. And yeah, this is a pattern that I love running, and you can run it on not only Lake Chickamauga, but a lot of different lakes. Whenever you find those shad, using your electronics or just visually seeing them, this is a great way to catch a lot of fish. Okay, so thank you guys for watching. If you guys want to cut your learning curve even more and book a guide trip with me, just go send me a message at sonar@sonarfishing.com. I'd love to take you guys out fishing. I'm booking trips right now for, you know, the end of this year and spring, really all the way through the 2024 season. So if you're interested in going on a guide trip on Lake Chickamauga and maybe even some of the area lakes like Watts Bar and things like that, I'd be happy to take you out. So thank you guys for watching. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, trust the process, and I'm going to see you out on the water.